So what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video. Now in today's video guys, we actually have some updated custom tactics for the 4-2-3-1 narrow formation, one of the most popular formations in the game this year, and with great reason. The 4-2-3-1 is extremely balanced, it's very good in both the attack and the defense, and you can also play quite wide as well as narrow with it, so it is very versatile and it's popular for that reason. So with all that aside guys, let's get right into the tactics. If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. Alright then guys, so starting off with the custom tactics for the defensive style, I have this on balance. Now the reason we have this on balanced is because it gives you the best control over your defense. So when you want to be super aggressive you can be, and then when you want to be a little bit more passive and drop back you can also do that. So balance gives you the greatest control that the other settings don't give you, and if we want to use pressure tactics in this game, we don't actually have to use any of these pressure tactics here. There is something else that we can do which we'll get onto in a moment. So balance is the way to go here. Now moving on to the width guys, at the start of the game I was using quite a high width in the game, thinking I need a higher width to get to the wide areas in case somebody goes for that cutback play, which they so often do. But what I've noticed is it doesn't actually matter how wide your defense is. If somebody wants to do that cutback style against you, they're always going to somehow manage a way to do it. So it's much better to at least narrow up your defense to make it more compact, so at least you're very solid through the middle, and the cutbacks are still going to be the same. So, you know, you kind of make your defense better by having it more narrow, if that makes sense. Just gives you a bit more solidarity than if you were to have a really high width, in my opinion. Now, moving on to the depth, guys, this is a thing that I was on about when it came to the pressure tactics. So, like I said, we have this on balanced here, but on the new gen version of the game, this is new gen only. If you have your depth on 71 or higher, you'll get this automatic press from the AI. It is very strong, very overpowered, and you don't actually have to do anything. You also get an automatic overload of the ball side, so it is very difficult for your opponent to play through it. It also breaks your opponent's attacking AI, so basically they become useless in the attack, and the best thing about this is you basically don't even get a stamina drain like you would if you were using the pressure tactics. So there's basically no downside to this at the moment, and I hope EA fix it, but right now everyone is using 71 depth, and with good reason. Now if you're on the old gen version of the game or you just don't fancy using it, you can lower your depth to something like 60, and that is absolutely fine. Depth is a preference thing, but you know, with how the depth, the 71 depth thing is at the moment, I do suggest it. Moving on to the build-up play, guys, I suggest balance. It gives you the most control when you are building up the play. It's the most versatile form of build-up as well. You can pick and choose when and where you use each form of build-up. So if you want to play slowly, you can do that, and then if you want to speed it up and play a little bit faster, you can also do that. So balanced allows you to choose what style you want to play and when. Now moving on to chance creation, guys, this is a very important tactic, and it is direct passing. The reason this is so important is because it's the only chance creation tactic which you can actually use to break down the park the bus defenses in the box. So what your players will do against these park the bus defenses is they'll commit to the run in the box, and then when the defender follows them, they will then track back, so it's just an open cutback. So basically it's the only one which will allow you to create chances against park the bus. You also get really nice versatile movements with this, which is why I do suggest it, and your attacking players will also bunch up against the opposition defense, meaning it's easier to do the 1v1 isolation plays. Now moving on to the attacking width, guys, I have this on 38. This is because the 4-2-3-1 is more of a narrow formation. It's one of the wider narrow formations, but it is still quite narrow, so we have the width on 38, so our players are closer together, so it is easier to link up the play, and when we want to drag our player out wide, we can still do that manually. So 38 width has been really good for me, and it's actually surprised me how good the narrow widths are in this game. Moving on to players in box, guys, this is a preference thing, but I have this on 7 at the moment. This is so I can get quite a few players into the box to help me score those chances. It is a little bit risky because if you do lose the ball, you do have a lot of people committed in the box, so you can get counter-attacked, but I think it's worth it. As for the corners and free kicks, guys, you can pretty much do whatever you want with this, but I just have them both on 2. Sorry to interrupt the video, guys, but I have noticed around 90% of you that watch the content are not subscribed. So if you are finding any of these videos helpful, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, as it does help me out massively. Also, don't forget to drop the video a like as well. And with all that aside, guys, let's get back to the video. Now, moving on to the player instructions, guys, on the striker, I just leave him on the default settings and then I put him on get in behind. Now, I used to really like stay central, but you know, with a one striker formation, sometimes this striker can get way too static on stay central. They don't seem to make enough movement. So when you just have them on balanced width, they don't stay too central and you seem to get more movement. Sometimes they'll go out into the wider position where you can play the ball to them there. It just gets them more involved, and it's actually been really good, and it surprised me. I also have this player on getting behind so we can play the ball in behind the defense. It's the best way to create chances with everybody using this high depth. So getting behind, as boring as it is, it's very important to use at the moment, in my opinion. Now, moving on to the central cam, guys, I just put him on get into the box across. This is so he is not hesitant to get into the penalty area. I find this one to be very important because sometimes if you leave them on balanced, they don't commit into the box, so you can actually screw up your chances because your cam has not decided to commit and go get the ball, if that makes sense. So get into the box across, very good for me. We also have the right cam and the left cam on comeback on defense and get into the box across. Now, the reason we have them on comeback on defense is quite important this year again, is because if you look at this formation the way it is, if you look next to the two CDMs, there is a lot of space for your opponent to attack there, and that is not good. So if you put these wide cams on comeback on defense, they'll come back to defend as a left mid and a right mid, so we can cover up those gaps that there would be on the wing. This way we can defend like the narrow areas really well and the wide areas as well, so it's like difficult for your opponent to attack you just from this instruction. We also have them on get into the box across for the exact same reason as the central cam, so they're not hesitant to get into the penalty area and help us out there. It doesn't mean you have to cross the ball to them, it just means they will make the transitional runs to help you out. Now, moving on to the CDMs, guys, on the left one, my more defensive minded one, I have him on stay back while attacking, cut passing lanes and cover centre. We have him on stay back because, like I said, this player is more defensive, so we don't want him flying forward, of course. We have him on cut passing lanes, so he's always looking to intercept passes, break up the play and help us get the ball back. And then we also have him on cover center, so he does defend those central areas because, like I said, we don't need him to cover the wing, as we have the left cam and the right cam coming back to cover those areas, so we can have him covering the central areas. Moving on to the right CDM, guys, I also have this player on stay back, cut passing lanes and cover center, but I do use this player as more of a box to box style player. It's better to, you know, like manually take them forward when you want to, as opposed to just having them on balanced attack. Recently I find balanced attack's alright, but sometimes they overcommit for no reason. But on stay back while attacking, you have a bit more control over when they build up. And then we also have them on cut passing lanes and cover center for the same reasons as the other CDM. Now, moving on to the fullbacks, guys, on your more attacking fullback, I suggest balanced attack and overlap. This is because we have a narrow width in the attack, so it's actually necessary to have a player going out wide to give us that extra option, otherwise we might struggle a bit. So balanced overlap on your more capable fullback will always give you that wider option, so you can play both narrowly and wide at the same time. Very useful to have, guys. On the other fullback, your more defensive one, just have him on stay back while attacking. This is so you always have at least 3 defenders back at a time, so you know you're defensively sound as well as being quite attacking. As for the 2 centre backs, guys, I leave them alone, and the goalkeeper I also leave him alone. But yeah, that is everything for the video, guys. If you have enjoyed or found it useful, please be sure to drop it a like, sub to the channel if you are new, and don't forget to turn on notifications. And with all that aside, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys.